Hi everybody, this is Osprey from MyChartCoach.com, and in this video we're going to take a look at quick look at Bitcoin. We're going to look at Litecoin. We're going to take a look at Salt, and then we're also going to take a look at some of the stocks that were in play today. You know, the markets were moving higher. There was a good jobs report. We're getting a nice little push here heading into December, and so yeah, we'll take a look here at some of these plays that were doing well today. Okay, so first up, let's take a look here at BTCS. All right, and so it closed up. Let's see. So basically, right now, what happened is yesterday it closed up here at 17,400, right at that level, and so it needs to break above that level to head higher. Notice yesterday a long upper wick formed on the candle. That's what we call a climax spike. So you had the big volume bar down here as well. So there was a big volume bar, a big pullback from high of day, followed by a red candle. That's the classic climax spike setup. And so now the candles may work back into the bands. You can see here the upper Bollinger Bands down here. It's the blue line. When a real candle body forms above the upper Bollinger Band, sometimes the candles will work back into the bands, and so that could happen here. If there's a red candle on Monday, that would confirm the reversal pattern. Now to head higher, if Bitcoin breaks above 17,400, then that's going to signal it wants to head higher, and it could run back up there and test that high 19,000 level. You know, there's not much resistance above 17,400. To the downside, you know, if it breaks through that upper Bollinger Band, which is currently at 15,763, the next really big level is this 14,400 level, and that's the level that it broke out from yesterday. So if it drops back below that, it's going to be working its way back into the bands, and then you have the 9-day simple moving average way down here at 12,679. That is the downside risk, that it retraces back down to that 9-day simple moving average. As long as the 9-day simple moving average is holding, the uptrend's super strong. Okay, so notice how it's been holding this entire time since the break above back here in the middle of November. And so notice when it dropped below the 9-day simple moving average, that signaled the pullback. So as long as it holds, the uptrend should continue. The only thing is, most people, you know, it's a big drop between 16,000 and all the way down at 12,000. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on Bitcoin here. We'll be tracking the movement, and we'll see if it can, you know, what's going to happen on Monday with the futures trading, or Sunday when futures trading starts, and then what's going to happen when the stock market opens on Monday. It's going to be a great experiment. You know, it's going to be everybody's going to want to see what happens, and so we'll be tracking the action. Come check us out on Sunday. We'll be posting information. You can come check us out in our chat. We will be posting things on StockTwits as well. So yeah, check out Litecoin. Litecoin made a really nice move today. Check out this parabolic break above the $100 level. So it broke above 100, and then it broke above the high close at 103, and that signaled that it wanted to head higher. It is busting through the upper Bollinger Band right now at 115. So if the candles work back into the bands, you know, you want to see this uptrend continue. Notice how it, like I said in the last chart, how Litecoin's been riding the 9-day simple moving average higher. When it dropped below here, it came down and it tested the middle Bollinger Band. Notice how these lower wicks bounce off the middle Bollinger Band. You just want to see this pattern continue. That means it's a strong uptrend. If those levels turn into resistance, that's when it could correct, like back over here in September. Notice how they're forming above the lines, and then they cross below, and that signaled the downtrend. So right now there's a strong uptrend. There's a huge breakout higher. You know, just keep an eye on the $3 level. You know, that's the big support level to hold. If it's staying above $3, that means that the uptrend is strong. And then what you want to see is continually pushing and making new highs. A drop below 103 would be a signal of the chart starting to cool down. Okay, take a look at Salt. This is getting ready to launch. They're getting ready to launch their platform. It's supposed to be happening in December, and so everybody's anticipating this happening, and right now it's trading in a sideways channel. As you can see down here, 0003 of a Bitcoin is the bottom of the channel, and then the top of the channel is 0006. And so basically what has to happen now is it needs to break above 0.00061 of a Bitcoin, and this is in Bitcoin, not in US dollars. And so if it can break above that level, that's going to be your signal that it wants to break out higher. It's trading in a tight channel. You know, it's gonna, you know, these are going to look like good levels. If this, this looks like a really legit coin. It looks like they have really good people behind them. This looks really solid. These might turn out to be really good levels once this gets going. I mean, this is the bottom. I mean, look at the start of this coin. I mean, it just started back here, recently. So it hasn't been trading for very long. So this is just starting. It's just getting going. Once it gets above 0.0061, that is going to be the signal that, yes, it's ready to break out higher. Okay, let's switch gears over into marijuana, and now we're going to look at Canopy Growth, arguably the #1 marijuana company in the world. Ticker symbol TWMJF on the over-the-counter markets. It's ticker symbol WEED.ca or whatever on the Canadian markets. Okay, so basically this is the play. This is the one. If you had to pick one marijuana stock to be in, this would be it. Corona, the maker of Corona beers, they took a $200 million stake in this company. They plan on being the largest marijuana beverage company in the world. And so what happened today was a very bullish development. It closed above the middle Bollinger Band. That's currently at 1471. That's the dotted purple line. If that level holds, that's going to be signaling that a new uptrend could be starting. Notice how it dropped below the middle Bollinger Band. It started a downtrend. It has higher lows going. Right now it has a symmetrical triangle pattern, and so one of two levels are going to break. It's either going to break support, this green ascending support line in the middle Bollinger Band, that'll signal downside risk, or it can break above this red descending resistance line, and that's going to signal upside potential. The big level to break is going to be this closing price on the 13th. If you see a close above 16, that's going to be an all-time high close, new high close, and that's going to be a signal that it's ready to break out higher. So keep an eye on Canopy Growth next week. Also keep an eye on the Acbff. This is Aurora Cannabis. This is the over-the-counter ticker symbol. It also trades on the Toronto Stock Exchange, ACB, and this stock, very similar pattern. It pulled back. It had the really nice uptrend. This is arguably the #2 best marijuana company. This is the other one that's super solid. They're trying to take over Canopy Growth as the #1 company. They have millions of square feet of canopy space, of marijuana grown right now. That they're just expanding. These are worldwide marijuana companies. They may be out of Canada. These are the Canadian companies, these two, but they're actually worldwide. And so right now it's bouncing off the middle Bollinger Band. As long as 523 holds, $5.23, the uptrend is intact. If that level breaks, then you could see a drop down here and fill the rest of this gap and possibly test the 50-day simple moving average. To the upside, if it can get a close above EMA at 553, above 553, that's going to signal it's ready to head higher. And then we're looking for a close above the closing price on the 27th as the key level to break up there at 640. Okay, take a look at Xxii. Okay, so yeah, this is another marijuana sector company. It's a U.S. company. It's not Canadian, but they have So they're working on nicotine addiction, and they do have a conference that's coming up on the 12th that's going to be talking about nicotine addiction, and so they're trying to help with that, and so basically this ran today, I believe, in anticipation of next week's conference. So keep an eye on it. If positive words are coming out about the company, it could head higher. What caught our eye was the break above this 50-day simple moving average. That's the green line at 248. If that level holds and turns into support, a new uptrend could begin. Notice how the candles are above the middle Bollinger Band and the 100-day simple moving average. So those are two key support levels down here. So as long as those are holding, as it stays above 230, this uptrend is intact. It's just been consolidating sideways for multiple days. It got above the middle Bollinger Band on the 20th, and then it formed this tight channel, and today it broke out above the top of the channel. So now we're looking for a move higher. We have 277 up here is going to be a big level, and then ultimately, everybody's looking for a run back up here to 340 to the high close in October. Okay, let's take a look at Pxs. Yeah, this stock finally bounced today, so it had made a pullback, and then the chart was winding tight. I want to show you this 15-minute chart, and you can see here how we were showing where the each day where the level was. This is a chart that we've been working on for multiple days, and so we timed this high close here on the 1st. and it it failed to get above that in the red candle form. That was your signal to lock in gains. When you get all these white candles in a row, you're just looking for a reason to lock them in, and that first red candle is your signal that you're hitting that high of day many times, and that's what happened here. And you were really stoked if you locked them in at the top. You were set up to reload off the 50 simple moving average if that was your game plan, or you just waited till the next day sitting in cash and you loaded on the break above the middle Bollinger Band. Same thing happened on the 4th. It ran up that first red candle. Notice there was the climax spike, the long upper wick. You've got the volume spike down here on the 4th. These are signals that it was getting frothy. You're always looking to lock in gains within the first, a half an hour to hour of the trading day. That's generally, when people are locking in gains on the morning runners. So once you get past that time, once it's like an hour and a half, you're really looking, okay, is this chart topping out? And so you're looking for long upper wicks in the candles in the 15-minute chart. You're looking for volume spikes, and then you're looking for that first red candle, and that gives the day traders a chance to lock in gains and then reload off support if they want to. This actually broke down below the middle Bollinger Band. It signaled it was a risk to hold, and that's why we say stocks are a risk to hold when they're forming candles below the middle Bollinger Band on the 15-minute chart, because look what happened. This was a multi-day downtrend. Each time it hit the middle Bollinger Band, it failed to get above each time. And then notice how it had the really tight Bollinger Bands leading into the close yesterday. So notice this is the upper Bollinger Band up here. This is the lower Bollinger Band way down here. Look how wide they are. They're off the chart. Okay, they're so wide, they're off the chart. And they got so narrow here that they were almost touching. When they get really, really close like that, that signals that a change in trend is coming soon. Notice how that was the same setup here on the 30th. The tight Bollinger Bands led to the explosion. So once again, tight Bollinger Bands, they're either going to lead to a breakdown or a break up. Since this had already pulled back for multiple days, you're looking for the breakout. That happened above all the moving averages. And then what happened again today? Just like what happened on the first, just like what happened on the 4th, the patterns keep repeating. It can be really freaking easy if you just follow the charts. And so what were you supposed to do today? That's right, lock in gains right here. You lock them in on that spike off a high of day, that red candle. This was your whole little climax deal, and then it, that set you up for the reload if you wanted to reload. And then what happened is it pulled back and it broke the middle Bollinger Band, but then it got down here to where the moving averages are converged. There's the 50, 100, and 200 simple moving averages. It bounced off that level and it did close back above the middle Bollinger Band. It closed above all the moving averages on the 15-minute chart. It's even above the 300 simple moving average at 373. Pxs is in play. Okay, so it's in play as long as it stays above this middle Bollinger Band. If you see it drop back below, it could get a pullback like it did on these other moves. So just keep that in mind. It really needs to stay above 515. That's the middle Bollinger Band level on the 15-minute chart on Monday. If it stays above that level, then you're looking for a break above high close, which is the closing price here at 10 o'clock today. If it can get above that, then you could see a run up here to 7 to test the high close on the 5th. So yeah, if you want to learn more about that, come check us out on our chat. We break this down in real time and do case studies on our charts. I think it's a great way to learn. I mean, if you're really trying to learn and what is $20? You know what I mean? When you're trying to learn to make thousands, when you're trying to make lots of money, what's $20 that somebody's to get into the premium chat, to be able to discuss this in real time and have me analyze charts and help you learn. Look at GALT here. It had that big gap down, and now the candles are working back into the bands. We called this bounce here yesterday. It had the nice bounce. It broke above the EMA 4. That did signal more upside potential. Notice how all the moving averages are converged here. It did close today above EMA 813. EMA is 813 and above the 100 and 200-day simple moving averages. It hit the 50-day simple moving average in the middle Bollinger Band, which is also the 20-day simple moving average, and failed to break that level. If it fails to get above 255 on Monday, that's going to signal that it's a temporary top, and it could pull back. It's still in a downtrend. The candles are forming below the dotted purple line, below the middle Bollinger Band. The lower Bollinger Band is the bottom of the channel, way down here at 176, and the middle Bollinger Band is the top. If it fails to break the top of the channel, this is the sell zone. And so notice what happened is a gap filled today. There was a gap between high of day on this candle and low of day on this candle. Notice how the candles work their way all the way up to the gap fill level. And so many times a gap fill can be a climax. And so if you see it drop below 240, that's going to be your red flag that it's still consolidating. A break above 255 would be bullish, and then we'd be looking for a run up here to 305 to the high close in November. Okay, take a look at ENRJ. This stock is a real You know, it's a pain in the, it's one of those pain in the behind kind of stocks, just because it head fakes and head fakes and head fakes, and today could be another one of those head fakes. If you look at each one of these green volume bars, they're just not, there's the nice green volume spikes when it looks like volume's picking up. There's never any follow through. You know, it does the same thing. They suck you in and then they don't follow through. So what we're doing is nothing until it gets above the key level, and the key level is this blue line here at 33.4. You guys can have the 20s. I don't care about that. Go ahead, play that whole game, because you know you could have loaded back here on the 6 and still been holding the bag. And this whole time, for weeks, while you're waiting for it to get above 33, that money is dead money. You're not putting that money to work. And so if money's dead money, you're just wasting it. And so you'd be better off just waiting instead of trying to time the bounce down here for the break above resistance, because it has all the moving averages lined up here. You've got the EMAs 4, 8, 13, the 20, 50, 100, 200, and 300-day moving averages all lined up in a nice pretty little row right here. And so once they break above the 300-day simple moving average at 33, that's going to be your bull signal. Now keep in mind, it did head fake the one time that it did that on this chart, and it formed this nasty black candle. Always go to the sidelines when that forms, and it pulled back. But if it can close with like a white candle above that level and hold above 33, that's going to finally be your signal that's ready to go. All we're doing is stalking our prey. We're just watching that thing, waiting for the day. It's going to happen one day, more than likely, unless they go out of business, but it's not today, and it's just still on the radar. Okay, let's look at Btcs. All right, so this is a Bitcoin stock. It trades over the counter, and they have a merger coming. And so the merger is, okay, so there is a possibility that the merger does not happen, but they have completed a big portion of the merger. And so they're just waiting to finalize it. And so they had a filing on December the 5th. And notice that on the 5th, when they had the filing, the share price pulled back. It looked like they were getting all their ducks in the row. You know, I'm not trying to bust out be the fundamental guy here. I'm the technical analyst, but I'm just saying that they have a catalyst that could be coming. For people that trade over-the-counter stocks, they know that merger news is rocket fuel. It's kind of like it's like FDA news for a biotech company. Many times when news comes out for an over-the-counter stock that there's a merger, it gets the stock running. That's just historically what happens. It would be odd if the press release came out and it didn't run on merger news. That's usually what happens. So we're waiting to see, when that day happens. The chart is setting up. Notice how this didn't participate in the Bitcoin rally. Bitcoin was running, other stocks in the sector were running, but there were some of these over-the-counter stocks did not participate. So we're thinking that maybe they're going to get going once Bitcoin cools down. Maybe it's going to be the inverse, and they're going to push these, kind of like the Dow dog theory, but with the Bitcoin's stocks. Now that maybe it cools down. This is just all speculation. But the bottom line is just watch the charts, and all it really matters is one thing on this chart. Really, is this line right here, this gold line. And once it turns 13 into support, we're calling it 13. That's the 100-day simple moving average. Then that's going to be the signal that it's ready to head higher. But until then, you could play in between these moving averages, but it's consolidating. It's in a sideways channel. It's still in an uptrend. It's holding the middle Bollinger Band. As long as it's holding 10 support, it's still strong. It's just it has to break above 13 to get moving, and then once that happens, it could really get going. So 10 right now, it's forming a bullish Haremy reversal pattern. I know a lot of people were loading down here, and this is the load zone. Just keep in mind it has to work through these moving averages to get moving. Okay, so if it fails to do so, it could just be it's still consolidating. Now the one thing that would kill this trade is if they cancel the merger. But yeah, if that news comes out, it's going to be a nice bonus for everyone. Okay, let's look at BTCS on the 15-minute chart. And so what we're looking for on this chart, and this will signal that it's heating up before that daily chart, it is a break now above the 300 simple moving average at 11. If it can get above that level, that's going to be the signal that it wants to break out higher. Notice that it's above the middle Bollinger Band, the 50, the 200, and it closed right at the 200, but it broke above the 200 and the 100 intraday. And so it has an uptrend going on the 15-minute chart right now. It just has to break through key resistance. So above 10.5 and then above 10.9, once it hits 11, that's going to be a signal that's really heating up, and it'll be an early signal before the daily chart. That'll be the break above this 200 and 300-day simple moving averages on the daily chart. So keep an eye on it. Okay, so BTSC, this is a Bitcoin stock that did run, and it had an epic run. It went from way down here at 5 cents, and then it ran all the way way up to 65 cents. Everybody's talking about Bitcoin, moving 1,000% in a year or whatever it was now. More than that now, but this did it in a couple weeks. The BTSC ran 1,000% in freaking 4 or 5 weeks, and that's why I'm trying to tell people that it's not just the cryptocurrencies that return big gains. The equities in the sector return big gains too when they run. So just keep that in mind. Everybody's gung ho on the cryptocurrency. A lot of the new traders, and keep in mind that the equities can be big. Can return nice gains too when they get moving, and when they have a nice uptrend. And so right now with this BTSC, it's pulled back. It has multiple red candles in a row, and so what we're looking for now is a bounce off of the 50-day simple moving average at 13.3. So if it can bounce off that's the target. That's the bounce target. It pulled all the way back to that level. Many times, you'll get a nice technical bounce off that level, and then what you want to see is a break back above the middle Bollinger Band at 23. If 23 turns into resistance, the middle Bollinger Band, that's going to signal the start of a new downtrend. It's already corrected. It already had a big pullback. Now it's on bounce radar. There was some big volume pulling it back. Just keep an eye on it. With Bitcoin at 15 be more valuable for these little Bitcoin companies. Okay, let's look at GLNNF. This is another cryptocurrency related stock that pulled back. They just signed a deal with Fatburger up in Canada, and they're doing crypto payments, and they've just they've been rocking it. They've been rocking it and doing really well. They've been putting out a lot of good news, but it pulled back. Sometimes that happens. People drove it back, and it closed below the middle Bollinger Band today. Similar to back here in October when it closed below, it needs to get right back above, just like it did here on the 16th of October. It needs to do that again here. It needs to get back above 180 on Monday. Now, if it fails to do that, then that puts the target as the 50-day simple moving average at 115. So that's why I know people were jumping in this. It's better to wait until till the 15-minute chart turns bullish before you jump in, just to save, just to be safe. It's like it's nice to get that low entry point, but then if the trade if it doesn't end up following through, then you get stuck with a bad entry point. You thought it was a low entry point, but it turned out to be a bad entry point. And so what we're waiting for, and I was trying to explain this in the chat today, is to get above this middle Bollinger Band. So it has to get above that level to be heating up, and that's at 168. It never got above that level. So it got above EMA's 4 and 8 today, and that was a signal that the bounce play was starting. And so keep that in mind, that we were discussing that. We wanted to see a break above that level. Notice how it's been falling below EMA 4 the whole day. That break above at 230, that was a signal that it was heating up, but it dropped back below at 315, and that signaled downside risk. It didn't get going. This is the risk of trying to time it. Trying to time the bottom is it may not be the bottom, and what really needs to happen, it has to get above the middle Bollinger Band at 167. If it can hold that level and turn to support, then it has to go all the way up here and get the 50 simple moving average at 188. Once it's above the middle Bollinger Band and the 50 simple moving average on the 15-minute chart, that's when the chart's bullish again, and you could see it reverse. Now, yeah, just keep in mind, if it gets above 168, that's some nice potential move up to the 50 simple moving average, since they're so far away right now. But yeah, sometimes it's better just to wait for that break above resistance than it is to try to jump in early. Okay, look at Gblx. This stock made a really nice move this week. We had a discussion in the chat about this stock as well, because it was hitting key resistance on the daily chart. Look up here on our side, it's at 80. On our side, it's at overbought levels. It's at 93. Notice how the previous spikes at this level, each time it's pulled back. It's never been able to stay above 80. Now, and this is over multiple years, going back to 2014. And so it's back above that level. Can it stay above that level? Is it going to create a brand new trend? Well, I mean, they had some good news that came out this week, and they have some tissue culture that they're doing cloning with, and it is actually really good technology, and it's been discussed in the marijuana industry for quite some time. And so these are the first people, it looks like, to really start commercializing it. And so it sounds like, and I'm not sure about that. There could be other people commercializing it. I'm just saying that they're doing that now. I'm not trying to throw out too much of the DD here. I'm just saying that these guys had some good news this week. They have a catalyst. Check it out. Come to our chat, our marijuana sector chat, and I did post that in the free chat part. You can check that all out. And yeah, what we're looking for here on the weekly chart is a break above the 200 and 300 week moving average. Okay, so it did close above the 200 week moving average. I thought maybe it might pull back below because the indicators were so overbought. So what you do in this situation, the safest thing to do is you lock in gains at the 300 week moving average here, and then you're on the sidelines. All right, and so you got out between 55 and 60, you know, the top up here, and then you're waiting. And if it breaks above 60 cents next week, then you can jump back in. And then ride to the next level. If it fails to break 60, then you wait for that pullback because it could pull all the way back down to EMA 4 at 38. And that would be a really nice re-entry if you locked in gains up here between 55 and 60. So that's why you lock them in. It's to mitigate risk. I mean, I would rather lose a few percentage points in the transaction cost on playing it safe and locking in gains here than holding when the indicators are overbought. It has a history of pulling back at this level on Fasto. It closed well above the upper Bollinger Band. Previous closes above the upper Bollinger Band were followed by red candles. You know, it didn't push that much higher above that one. Look how each one of these white candles that pushed above the upper Bollinger Band, they pulled back. So you're always looking at the historic trend. What did this stock do before? It's just one of those rules, like don't hold after a black candle forms, after a gap up open during an uptrend. It's a rule that it's going to be a risk, or that you want to lock in gains when the share price hits the 300-week moving average. It's just you'll be glad that you did more times than not. Okay, and then one more to look at is GTHP, and I don't really know too much about this company. They're over-the-counter stock. They had some good news out as well. I think they might be Australian. I think they might be an Australian company, and I can't remember though. But they don't have an F on there. But yeah, do the due diligence. They had some good news. They're you know, had a big move today. It is in it broke above 50 on our side. If it can stay above 50, that'd be really bullish. You want to see Fasto get above 50, and then what we are looking for today was a close above the 50-day simple moving average. That's the green line, currently at 0.03. It did close above that level. That long upper wick isn't what we wanted to see. You know, that shows dilution, profit taking. I'm sure they were selling shares into the run. And once again, you know, when it hit that 100-day simple moving average and pulled back, that was a signal to lock in gains and then look for a reload down here. And so that pullback, you know, that signals that you know, it could consolidate further on Monday. You know, it didn't close super strong. It closed with weakness, but it did close above 3. If it can stay above 3, then we'll be shooting for 5 again. And then if it can close above 5, that's when it could really get running. If it fails to get above 3 on Monday, then you're looking at a middle Bollinger Band support test at 2. And as long as it holds that middle Bollinger Band, a new uptrend should begin. If it fails to get above the 50-day simple moving average, it's going to be downside. You know, it's going to be risk. It's going to signal risk. It's only going to be a good play if it stays above that level. Notice previous times when it tried to get above that level, it failed. This could be a change in trend. I mean, look at the big volume behind it and the fact that they just came out with some good news. So yeah, let's keep an eye on it next week. Yeah, check out Bitcoin here. People are still buying up here at $16,449, and yeah, it's gonna be an exciting day on Sunday. So come join the fun. Please check out our chat. We're going to be doing the crypto futures market, you know, live on our chat on Sunday. It's going to be 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 6 o'clock on the West Coast. And yeah, you can come join the fun with us, and we'll be on StockTwits as well. And yeah, I appreciate you viewing this video. We'll have a link to the chat below the video on YouTube. Okay, thank you. Have a great weekend.